Hey, it's been a minute. How you been? I have been well. Um, I've been struggling to record this video. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not even gonna hold you. Um, this is something that I get like a little anxious about. I don't know. I don't know. But we're here now. We're gonna conquer our fears or our anxieties, and we're gonna jump into some Q&A questions. So the first question is from AJ the writer, who I have worked with in the past. What's up, AJ? How's it going? And AJ asks for networking advice. AJ says, we shy out here. I feel that, AJ. I feel that. Unfortunately, if you are not, I guess, a people person, it will be harder for you to network. Networking is a skill, but the way that I see it, right? For me, I am 100% a people person. I like talking to people. I've worked in customer service. I like talking to people. I like being around people and hearing what people think. But not everybody is trying to do that. That's not everybody's like strong point. And if that's not your strong point, but you're still trying to network and you're still trying to meet people and get to know people and work with people, I would say the best thing that you'd have to do, in my opinion, is probably figure out how to get yourself to like networking, how to get yourself comfortable. Like what little like mental tricks can you do to sort of trick yourself into like getting comfortable with like a networking situation. Definitely at first, I want to say this was like 2022, the first time I went to Anime Expo. And I got invited to the industry party out there in LA. I was so nervous. Like I'd been to an industry party before, but it was in New York City. But that's my city, you know what I mean? Like NYC is my home. So even if I'm in a place that's unfamiliar, I'm still comfortable because I'm at home and I don't know anybody. I have like one or two friends at that time. And I'm still getting to know people. So what I did that entire weekend, there's this podcast that I listen to. Y'all, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Please don't judge me. But there's this podcast that I listen to called Slay Girl Slay. The podcast itself is like a motivational podcast particularly for like Black and brown, like women of color who are in the entrepreneurial space. Yeah, that was something that I had to do. And mind you, I'm a people person. I enjoy talking to people and getting to know people. And just socializing in general. But I was super nervous. So even for me, like listening to that podcast, I must have listened to that podcast like it was a crazy amount of times, that like 10 times a day or something like that while I was out there for the weekend. Like crazy like amount of times that I listened to that podcast to try to like motivate myself and like hype myself up to talk to people and get to know people. You may not know my name now, but you gonna know it. You will know it. Like like all these people in this room are going to be lucky to have met me at this point in time in my career and in my stage of life, because it's going to go so much further than where I am right now. So yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, next question is Mike Sear Art. Do you like Berserk? Also, can I be added to the chat? I can't remember which chat this was. These were in my, what do you call this? In my broadcast channel on Instagram. Y'all, if you follow me on Instagram, first of all, if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. And Twitter too, please. Please follow me on Twitter. I know it's a hellscape right now, but please, just, as a matter of fact, follow me on all the socials, subscribe to the channel here, just do the whole thing, right? So Mike Sear Art, I'm not sure which chat you're talking about, because you may be in that chat already. Unless you were talking about like my Discord, which, sure, you can come to my Discord. It's not open just yet to the public, but it will be. You can join. Anyway, do I like Berserk? I do like Berserk. I love Berserk. I actually have Guts and Griffith on my wall. So I do really like Berserk. It's also on my bookshelf, but it's back there. You can't see it. So, anywho. Next question. Laser81095 asks, What's your strategy for planning panels and pages? That is a good question. That is also the topic of a video that I want to do. I can answer it pretty quickly here, but I do want to make a video where I can actually like break down and like physically show you how I make panels and plan that stuff. Essentially, it all comes from creating a name or storyboard in English, which is basically just like a very rough layout of like what your pages would look like for your manga or for your comic. That way you can better plan out your pages and plan out your panels. As far as like what I reference for panels or how I come up with them, it kind of depends on what's happening in the scene. I'm very much like a fan of like a page turn, because as you know, I do horror manga. So I'm always thinking about like how to build suspense. It's the little, like, for example, like if there is a character that's walking in an alleyway, or walking in the middle of the night in the street or something like that, showing like their footprints, like little panels, like keeping those small so that when it gets to like the character turns around and like looks over their shoulder, that page turn, there will be like this big massive creature or, you know, whatever it is that they need to, whatever it is that's trailing them, or like whatever it is that like you want emphasis on, like what you want to be shown is shown. And it's huge, it takes up a lot of space, and it's like emphasis that like, this is it. So yeah, but a lot of that happens in the, I was about to say pre-production, but a lot of that stuff happens in the planning stage. So when you do the name or the storyboarding, you can plan that stuff out pretty effectively. Movies are really great for still like panels that you could have like in like, not still panels, but like still scenes that you can have in your mind for the future on like how you want to present something, right? So if you think about cinematography and like videography, mostly cinematography, like there is a certain way that like shots are set up to like convey something in the movie. So there's too many movies for me to like pull like a specific example from. But if you have something that's called like a frame within a frame, so you have the camera, and then let's say like there's an open door, and then there's a person standing in the middle of the door. That is a frame within a frame. Like that can be conveying something. Like when you watch movies and shows, like pay attention to how things are shot. Pay attention to like what feeling that shot is trying to convey, whether it's like suspense, or if it's like sadness or happiness, or like something moody, like those kinds of things. Any kind of feeling, like just pay attention to how that scene is shot, and you can pull a visual reference from there. And also, the same is true for manga as well. With manga though, the important thing to look out for is like panel hierarchy. Not all panels are built the same way. And like not all panels are laid out the same way. Like there's a way that manga lays panels out that is like really important for the flow of how the story is meant to be read. I believe it's called komawari in Japanese, where it's like the flow of like how the panels are supposed to be read. You don't want to disrupt that flow, because the moment that the reader is confused, it's like you've lost. So you want to make sure that you're also reading a lot of manga so that you can make sure that your komawari is okay, that your paneling is like readable for the reader. But those are my strategies. Watch movies, pay attention to the mood of each scene and how it's shot, and then read a lot of manga so that you understand like reading layout and making sure that like your panels are readable. Okay, next question. From Modern Bruja. I think that's how you say it. Bruja, Brujo. No, it's Brujo. Brujo? I'm tripping. I don't know. I'm so sorry. But any suggestions for finding an artist to work on a concept? It's a good question. Where do the artists live, right? They do live on Instagram, so you are already in a good place to find artists. There's also a lot of artists on Twitter. They may have gone now, but by the time when this question was first put up, there were definitely more artists on Twitter. They're probably all at Blue Sky right now. Check Blue Sky. I think it also depends on like what the offer is for the artist, like what's in it for them. For like, all artists obviously want to be compensated for their work, but for some artists, it is more important that the project is fun for them. So, you know, it is a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag. I would say making sure that your artist is taken care of, to like retain an artist to work on a concept. Make sure also that like it is a collaborative effort and it's not just like, it doesn't feel like a work for hire kind of a situation where it's just like, you do what I tell you and then that's it. Like nobody, like artists are creatives, like nobody wants to really work in that kind of environment unless like the money is moneying. But if it's not, then it's like, it's gonna be hard to retain people. Make it feel collaborative, make it fun. If the artist is not into your idea, maybe, and like if you really care about that artist and like really, really wanna work with them and you like their work, maybe discuss with them why they may not be into your idea or like how they think it could be better. Getting in their like creative input and like really making it a collaborative effort. And if they still are not interested, then they're just not interested. You just gotta move on. I don't know if you're from the US. I'm not too sure. I feel like probably because a lot of my people are from the US. But something that I've observed in the US is like sometimes it's hard to work with people who are doing writing and are looking for an artist for like concept or to work on a story together, because there is not, people are not trying to be collaborative, people are trying to be bosses. And it's like, that's fine, but like I am bringing like a very large amount of labor and like specific labor to this project. So it's like, if my skill set, if I'm telling you my skill set is like here, but you want over there, it's like we're naturally just gonna butt heads, you know? Not speaking personally, but that's how a lot of artists tend to think, you know? So it is a bit of a mixed bag, but I think at the end of the day, making sure that the project is interesting for the artist to work on is always a good idea. Calamari28 asks, how did you start your career? Did you go to college to create manga? That is a great question. Honestly, so first answer. Oh my God, I cannot speak, I'm sorry. I did not go to college to create manga. I went to college very briefly and I actually dropped out because of health reasons. So my college career was very, very short, just 3 years. And I actually transferred my major in my second year, in the middle of my second year. So definitely did not go to college to study manga. I went to the University of YouTube. So that's answer one. How did you start your career? Honestly, I started it by deciding this is something that I just wanted to do. And I wanted to give it a honest shot and pursue it. I've always done art, and since I was in middle school, I've always wanted to be a manga artist, but I didn't think that I could because I wasn't in Japan, because I wasn't Japanese, all the usual conversations that are online already, all the usual nonsense that like people tell other like foreign mangaka online. And like that was something that I believed very, very early on. I think it's just, it's probably just an American mindset, but I don't know that for sure. But that was something that I believed for a long time, and I didn't give myself a chance to even start. And for a long time, I was just like, well, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna do illustration. I wanna do like game concept artwork. which obviously I still do illustration. I don't do concepts for video games. Um, but it would be cool to do something like that for my own like indie horror game that like I wouldn't develop, but I would like do the concepts for it and my story. I don't know, maybe in the future, let's see. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically how I started out. I decided that this was something that I didn't want to regret not giving like an honest go of. And I decided that it was worth it. And it worked out in the end because I started getting some eyeballs on my stuff. So I started working self-publishing manga, like just on my own, working on my own stuff. And I just put it out there. Just put it out there, would live stream, would talk about my stuff. And that's pretty much it. And learning a lot of stuff along the way. Like I said, went to the University of YouTube, did a lot of learning and like looking through tutorials on YouTube. Shout out to White Manga. Shout out to My Mangaka Life, Lisbeth Jimenez. Shout out to Manben because I learned a ton of stuff on Manben as well. Also to Akihiko Yoshitomi, who also has like a hidden manga tutorial on his channel. He has a 30 days of making manga video. And if you turn on the subtitles on English, he goes through his process for about, I think it's like 5 videos or something like that. But he goes through his process on like how he makes manga, specifically like finalizing pages, and that process. Not so much like the storyboarding process. That process is always pretty secret. Shout out to the G, Naoki Urasawa, because his show Manben, for his particular episode, because he did like a Manben in general, for people who don't know what Manben is, it's like a documentary series that goes into different mangaka's processes in Japan. Everybody creates manga very differently. You wouldn't know that to look at it because manga, the final process looks the same other than the art, but people produce manga very differently. So Manben is like a documentary of like learning how other manga artists create their works. And it's created by Naoki Urasawa through NHK. And Naoki Urasawa actually did his own episode. And in his episode, he was brave enough to show people how he does his storyboards, which is what people really, really want to know. But a lot of manga artists are not interested in sharing that process because it is a crazy, heart-wrenching, like stressful process. It's very stressful creating storyboards. But yeah, learning from YouTube, pretty much. So Peace Within asks, tablet or notebook drawing utensils for beginners. I'm gonna say, because I'm biased, 110% drawing notebook with drawing utensils. It is so easy to just hop into like a lined paper notebook, a regular composition notebook, and just go ham with some pencils and some pens, some crayons. Like, it's really not about the tools. It is more so about the consistent practice. It's the easiest thing to get into for beginners. Like you can go to the dollar store and pick that stuff up. Where if you get a tablet, you'll be learning more advanced stuff at a faster rate, but it'll be like the bells and whistles and not the foundational stuff. And I see that a lot with like a lot of like younger digital artists doing illustrations. The rendering will be fantastic because they know how to render digitally, but the forms and like everything else will be like a little wonky, and it'll be like, ooh. Once you take off the rendering, I wonder what that undersketch is looking like. If there is an undersketch. So absolutely notebook and drawing utensils. Okay, next question. Midnight Cereal asks, what do you do when you have a creative block? What I do when I have a creative block is, if I have the time, I will take a break. like if something is not due like tomorrow, I will take a break. I don't always take walks when I have creative blocks, but I do want to practice doing that more. Sometimes I will, but I try to take a break, even if it's just in the house and I'm like scrolling on my phone, or if I'm like watching something on YouTube, or playing with my dog, or just reading manga, or watching a movie or something. Just take a break. Take a break. It costs nothing to just take a break. Take a nap even, maybe like 20-minute nap if you can. It costs nothing to take a moment, take a breather, to get your energy back, to get your brain back on track. And the reward that you get when your brain is like, I can breathe again. It's like, it's so good. It's so good. You have all this energy that, like, you can feel the change in energy when you take a break. So that is my advice, is to take a break. Next question, Corpse Fairy Dolly asks, how do you make manga comics the way they look in the books? I draw, but I've never figured it out. I'm not 100% sure I understand your question. There is a lot of stuff that goes into making like comics and like manga specifically. I don't know. Can you specify what you mean exactly? Like, are you talking about screen tones, or are you just talking about like drawing? I don't know. I will say though that like for my artwork, a lot of my influences are Japanese manga artists. So there are like bits and pieces of like how they draw that I take and Frankenstein into my own work. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. That is like not just big eyes, but also, but because big eyes is more of an anime trait than just in manga. I find that in manga there are a lot of characters that tend to have smaller eyes and semi-realistic features, but nobody ever talks about that. But you know, that's, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure. If you specify your question a little more, I might be able to give you a better answer. So yeah, but anywho, thank you for asking. Next question, Ozymandias, I think is how you say her name. Did you ever paint miniatures, dolls, action figures, model kits? I never have. I've never painted those things. I kind of wouldn't mind painting a doll or model kit, like one of the Gunpla. I'm not opposed to doing it. I'm not opposed. I think I might actually really enjoy that as like a downtime hobby, but I've never actually done it before. Okay, Art X the Illus asks, how do you stay on task? Oh, this is the question that's on everybody's mind as an ADHDer. That's a good question. I stay on task by trying to make the tasks fun and making sure that I'm constantly having fun as I'm working. I don't know if you have ADHD or how everybody else's ADHD works, but the moment that I start feeling frustrated, like I really don't want to do this, or the moment that I start feeling really, really bored, it's game over. So I have to constantly make sure that I'm feeling good about what it is that I'm doing so that I can continue to do what I'm doing. In some cases, I don't have a choice because there's deadlines, but I try really, really hard to try to make my work as fun as possible, make it a fun atmosphere. If I need to leave my home office and like go to the library or something, or a cafe, I'm doing it to try to change up things. Because I know that once it starts getting to crunch time and once the deadlines start popping up and like shit starts getting real, it's gonna take so much more out of me to like get the work done. But if I'm having fun from the beginning, it's not like when crunch time comes, I have a little bit of a mental cushion because I've been having fun for like so much of the project. So I have planners. I have a work planner that I work in. I use a Hobonichi Cousin. This is like real, like this is deep lore, like planner stuff, but it allows me to like use my, obviously like a monthly calendar. I also have like a weekly layout so that I can plan like what tasks need to be done each week. And then there's like a daily thing of pages where I can do like a checklist of like to do stuff that correspond to whichever day and whichever week of whatever month that I'm in. So I write a lot of this stuff down. The way my ADHD works, I have a tactile sensitivity. I don't know if it's just the ADHD or if it's like a little touch of autism that's happening, but I like to touch stuff. And I retain information better when I write it out. So I do a lot of writing for my planning. I also use Notion, hashtag not sponsored, I wish, but I also use Notion to kind of track my, not so much from my personal works, but for like client works that I have deadlines on and like certain things that I need to track with clients. I have a spread on Notion that I use for that. So I also have I have a manga planner that, again, it's handwritten. I tried to do this digitally through Notion, and it didn't work out because it just was like I had to repeat too many pages. But what I do in this planner is basically I write out the Kisho Tenketsu of like what the story is. I don't know if you can see that, but the Kisho Tenketsu of like how the story layout is gonna be. And then I also do like a count of the pages, and then I will mark off the pages according to like what needs to be done. So this is actually something that I learned from watching Akihiko Yoshitomi's videos. So that same video that I mentioned earlier, the 30-day manga videos, he actually hand writes out his pages, and then he has like these like little key markers that he uses to like track his progress as he's working on these pages. And I was like, that is genius. So I started doing the same thing. That works really well for me. It looks really convoluted. It looks really convoluted, but that works really well for me. And I actually did that for Resenter for the one shot as well. So I don't know if you can see that properly, but like, yeah. So I have a notebook where I write out the outlines of what it is that I'm working on. And then once the outline is done, and the outline, I don't always use Kisho Tenketsu. For those of you who don't know, Kisho Tenketsu is like a writing structure that is used in Japan by mangaka. I don't think all mangaka use Kisho Tenketsu, but it's common. It's like how the 3-act structure in the US is pretty common. It's a common writing structure. It's a common writing structure in Japan, Kisho Tenketsu. And in Hirohiko Araki's book, Manga in Theory and Practice, he talks about it more there. But there are also like a bunch of YouTube videos that talk about Kisho Tenketsu also. But Kisho Tenketsu is a four arc structure. But we're not here for writing structures, although I'm sure there's some of y'all that want to know about that more. But I don't always do Kisho Tenketsu, but I will do like my ideas, sometimes I'll do like a character bio or whatever, and then like the outline for the one shot or for the chapter or whatever, maybe using Kisho Tenketsu if I need a little bit more structure. And then I put my number of pages and I go at it. And like this, also has like a key system of like what pages are sketched, what's drawn, what's inked, what's scanned, cleaned up, whatever, and then all the way to complete. And that's it. And I also have like a guesstimate of like how many pages I'm gonna have within like the one shot, the whatever. So I feel like I over answered your question, but I hope that that does help. Yeah, thanks for asking. And on to the next question. VRock67 asks, how do you speed up the process and get your art done, especially when dealing with multiple panels under deadlines? Quick tips. Everybody wants quick stuff. This shit is not quick. The only thing that makes this quick is experience. I was really, really slow doing panels when I first started working on manga and comics. I did not know what I was doing. I had to do a lot of reading and a lot of studying to figure out like how to make these things work. And there's still like obviously weaknesses that I have that would be better once I get more experience under my belt, because I'm still a pretty new manga artist. But there's like technical quick tips, like that's still like not something that you acclimate to right away. The one kind of quick thing I guess I could give is like a homie of mine gave me some advice about like using when like making sure that my name paper, my nemu, the paper that I use to do my storyboards on, that the guidelines for the pages are aligned so that when I do my storyboards, I can trace over that with a light box and then just go straight into like the final pages from the storyboard without having to redraw stuff over. So like that's a quick tip on speeding stuff up. But like I guess like if you're working digitally, you can make custom brushes, stuff like that. But like anytime you are trying to, because this is such a routine thing, making manga is so routine, once you have your process set up, trying to add new stuff into it kind of breaks your process a little bit, because you're having to like relearn stuff. Even when you have like custom brushes, or if you're using like photos or like 3D backgrounds for backgrounds, like you still have to render those things and like integrate them into your art, and that takes time. So it's like none of this is easy. None of it is easy. But yeah. Also, there are multiple panels in a single page. So I don't know if you meant multiple panels or multiple projects. But I hope that answers your question. I don't know. But yeah, thank you for asking. Okay, next question is from Faye Ghoul. And Faye Ghoul asks, what is something that people wouldn't expect about you? But with social situations, I get very shy. And I know that like that sounds contradictory, because I said that I really like social, like interacting with people and talking to people, which I do. But I am the type of person that if I'm at a party with people that I don't know, it will take me about 30 to 40 minutes to actually like talk to people, to like mentally like ground myself in the space and talk to people. I feel like I need a little bit of a disclaimer with this, because there might be times where like if you see me on the street, right? Like in New York, I'm out and about, pretty casual. I'm usually at like various places where like art and Japanese stuff is at. Like there may be times where like if we've spoken before, especially at a convention, first of all, one, I may not remember you. Like I'm so sorry about that, but I may not remember you. But I also like, especially if I'm really like into you as like if we know each other online, I know what you look like, you know what I look like, and I'm like, we're both kind of like into our stuff, I may come off a little aloof, but it's because I'm actually quite shy and like I don't know how to approach, and I don't want to like destroy the harmony of the relationship. Especially at conventions where we have spoken, and this is obviously, there's like layers to this, right? It's a relationship kind of thing. There's like people who know me for like my work online, but like don't really say much. There's people that like know me only online and they comment, DM, whatever. And then there's people who have met me at shows who are fans of my work. And then there's people like who have done that but are also local, who see me at events. Like there's layers to these different things. And then like people that I know online whose work I'm a fan of, but I don't talk to them a ton, just online mostly. For me, it's those kind of situations where I'm like, I don't know how to approach people and I don't want to come off as like being really fucking weird because, you know, contrary to popular belief, I can be quite weird socially. We can't be all mask off. we gotta be like a little mask on for certain situations. So I don't want to come off like strange. And I'm also just I do get very shy. Trying to talk to people that I know online and I recognize, or maybe that I've seen at a show. It is different when like it is a fan of mine who's approaching me. That doesn't really make me shy. I'm always like excited to meet people who like my stuff. I know that they're shy because I can see people's hands shaking. I don't say nothing. I try to be nice about it, but I do see your hands. And even then I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. I want to soothe them. But I also have been in those situations where I'm meeting people that like I follow online or like people whose work I'm a fan of. And I like shut the fuck down. I'm like a leaf, freaking leaf in the wind. So I get it. It's just, this is a very human experience. But yeah. So that being said, if you know that I'm a fan of your work and I've DM'd you, we've spoken online, like and we see each other in person and I'm like a little aloof, I promise you, I am shy. I don't know what to say. I want to say so much, but I also don't want to come off as a weirdo. And I also have like a quick like anecdote about that as well. You guys know Trevor Henderson, right? He is like the father of like crazy good analog horror online, and he also is the father of like and creator of Siren Head. We became friends online, and I'm more, obviously we are all more bold online than we are IRL. And when it comes to trying to make friends with people, I am absolutely more bold online than I am IRL. But it also depends on the vibes, because if the vibes are all good, if I'm in a good mood, I'm a little bit more open and more charming. But if I'm like having a not so great day and the vibes are not there, I'm very shy. I need like 30 to 40 minutes. And became acquainted with Trevor Henderson online. I did not know that man was Canadian, and I went to TCAF this year and met him for the first time, and I was so shy. But like I was also very excited, but I was also like a little shy. And then we met up again in September at Small Press Expo, and I was more talkative, but I was also very shy. And since then, of course, we've spoken more online, but I was like, we're friends, right? Are we friends? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. So that is me being very cringy and very socially shy, even though I enjoy talking to people and I love social situations. Anyway, that was a very long-winded answer to your question, but I hope that was helpful. Next question is from Art Messiah, who is actually a community member of mine. What's going on, Art Messiah? We call him Mega in our Discord though, but shout out to you. What's up? And Art Messiah's question is, what goes through your mind when you're trying to visualize your comic to make thumbnails? I don't know if other people have this experience or not, but whenever I am like thinking of any story, in my mind, I'm playing like a trailer, like a movie. Like there is an active thing of like actors, not like specific actors, but my characters as actors moving about in my mind in a movie, essentially. This is the best when I'm listening to music. and it just like, it plays like a music video. But as I'm writing stuff out, this happens in the writing stage for me, where I have very, very, very clear visuals in my mind about where the characters are, what they're doing, what the space looks like, what the angle of the camera is at. And that's informed by a lot of the movies that I watch. Like I said, movies help with like setting those scenes. So that helps with like just the, I guess, the character blocking and like what the scene itself is going to. There are times where if there's like a specific manga panel that I was like, as I was reading, I was like, okay, I kind of like that. Or if there is a panel that I might be a little afraid to use that I want to use, like recently for me, it's been like the long vertical panels, like very, very long vertical panels, which is more in shonens and action stuff. I'm curious to like use that in horror, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. And I guess now that we're having this conversation, like now you know what to look out for in my next stuff. But that is something that like I'm thinking about as I'm visualizing too. Like I may be wanting to experiment on the reading flow side of like laying out my panels. But as far as like the visuals go and like how I'm setting a scene, it's playing in my head already as I'm writing out the outline. Okay, thanks for your question, Mega. Appreciate you. Next question. Vile Garden asks, is there a term for when manga is sold with multiple volumes symbolizing one arc? I want to learn more about this. To my knowledge, I think it's just the arc listed out. I don't know if that is something that is written out. Like, I don't know if that's like, if like speaking blatantly about an arc within a show is a fan thing or if that is an industry thing. Like, does that make sense? I don't know if I don't know if that's necessarily something that the mangaka is thinking about. Probably, well, I would imagine they are thinking about it, but I don't know if it's necessarily like named a thing. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. But I know like obviously in anime, like when there's an arc, I'm thinking specifically of like Hunter x Hunter. But Hunter x Hunter, I don't remember all the arcs like that. So let's talk about another Togashi work. Let's talk about Yu Hakusho. So like the Dark Tournament arc, I don't know if that is a fan, like the name Dark Tournament arc, like everybody knowing that name. I don't know if that's a fan creation, like if that's just like a manifestation of the community, or if that is like an official industry term for that period of time in the story. I am not sure about that. And it could be a mix of both because typically people working in the manga and anime industry are fans also. So I'm not sure. I may have to ask my senpais about that. I don't know. But that's a good question. You got me with the head scratchers too. Okay. Next question. Arcan. Oh God. Arcan Knight asks, do you have any non-horror manga you take inspiration from? Only non-horror manga that I really read is like some shonen, some josei, and seinen. I did read a lot of shoujo manga when I was younger. I don't know a ton of shoujos that I don't really read shoujo or much shonen now, to be honest. But I remember how the impact of those mangas made me feel and those stories like made me feel. And I do think about how to like, not necessarily create those exact same feelings because it's different genres, it's coming from a different place. But I do think about like how to like manifest that effect again. But yeah, I don't know. I may have to like expand my reading palette just a little bit. Horror is so like, not niche. It is niche, but it's so like, it's so specific, like of a genre in manga. And there's such, like, I mean, every genre has like its own characteristics. Like, shonen tends to have like a lot of speed lines, although all of them have speed lines, but like shoujo manga tends to have like a lot of like the cute bubbles and flowers in the background, like little markers of like this genre. And like I try to pay attention to that for like horror manga, and that's why I read so much of it. But I don't know. I do watch Colleen's Rex. I think that's the name of her channel. I'm so sorry, Colleen. I love you, but I can't remember the name. But Colleen is a YouTuber that is like a ride or die defender of shoujo manga. That's part of the reason why I like checked out her channel, is to get more recommendations for shoujo manga, because I do feel like I'm a little behind, and I did love shoujo a lot when I was a kid. So I don't know. I think offhand, real quick answer, probably seinen is probably a non-horror manga genre that it's probably the non-horror manga that I read, because I do read a lot of Naoki Urasawa, and he is more thriller and not so much horror. And there are like a ton of wholesome moments in his stuff, so that would probably be it. I did all that long answering just for that. I'm so sorry. Just for that. Just to be like, just read Naoki Urasawa. But for real though, you should read Naoki Urasawa, because he's fantastic. He's fantastic. Oh, I'm bugging. There's also Satoshi Kon, R.I.P., another GOAT who is an inspiration of mine. His manga is not horror at all. It is more a little more surreal. I really liked Opus. But it is very like Satoshi Kon, like surrealist, like kind of stuff. But it's very good. And I do like the little bit of like unhinged that like Satoshi Kon has in his work. So read Satoshi Kon's manga too. And RIP to another GOAT. Okay. And the last question is from H-Voice Comics. Shout out to you, H-Voice. I see you all the time on the socials, commenting, liking. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And H-Voice Comics asks, something I've wondered about the one-shot program that isn't stated anywhere. Do they pay you for your work? Hey, so I just looked through all of my information that I got from this, and unfortunately I'm not allowed contractually to answer that question. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. That's how these contracts go. What I will say though is that it's favorable to apply and to try to get your work into this. I will say that. But I can't discuss anything. So I'm so sorry that the juiciest question of the video got the most lackluster and literally the shortest answer of the video. I'm so sorry for that. I apologize deeply and truly. Okay, and there you go. That was Baby's first Q&A. I'm so sorry that it took so long to get this done. I have been avoiding this Q&A, this video, for a very long time. I think part of it is like I was burnt out. It's been a very, 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 very busy year. So apologies to that, but I'm glad I got this done. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. Y'all, please. Like I said before at the top of the video, follow your girl on Instagram and also follow the broadcast channel join that so that for the next Q&A video, I can answer your questions. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Also, like I said at the top of the video, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. There's gonna be a lot more manga vlogs. There's gonna be a lot more like manga, I don't know if I want to say tutorials, but a lot more manga advice that's happening. And of course, a lot more of like my work, me working on actual projects and stuff that, you know, you can see the process of. I'm also trying to do more live drawings or get back into live streaming, but on YouTube. So it's gonna be a great time. Come through, subscribe to the channel, and follow your girl on the socials. Everywhere I am, come through, stalk me. I enjoy good stalking. I'm kidding, kinda. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a fantastic day, and good luck on all your manga projects. And thank you so much to everybody who asked the question. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.